Welcome class to Module 6, Health Information Project Management, Stakeholder Analysis and Communication Planning. My name is Dr. Cornejo. In this chapter, we're going to see how to identify stakeholders, how to plan for stakeholder engagement, manage a stakeholder engagement, monitor that engagement, plan the communication management, manage communications, and a summary of the module. The core goals for this module are 7. 1. We're going to enumerate, describe, and prioritize stakeholders for a project. We will list each section of the project management communication plan. We're going to build a communications metric. We're going to develop a strategy for stakeholder management. We're going to talk about the process of building project relationships and the importance in terms of communication as well. We're going to develop a project communications management plan for a real project. Finally, we will plan, conduct, and improve project meetings. 1A. Find stakeholders. Identify every person, group, or organization affected by any part of the project. Include those who work on it, supply people, funding, or resources, whose routines are disrupted, regulators at local, county, state, and federal levels, direct users, and anyone directly or indirectly affected by outcomes. Record names, roles, interests, and engagement. Examples of project stakeholders. Stakeholders map across two axes, internal versus external, and affected by the project's process or results. Internal process: owner, sponsor, project manager, core team, employees, stockholders. External process: suppliers, partners, agencies, media, creditors, taxpayers, neighbors, unions. Internal result: internal customers, sponsor, users. External result: client, public, special interest groups, competitors, and people who benefit indirectly. 6.1b. Analyze stakeholders. Stakeholder analysis gathers and evaluates information to decide whose interests deserve emphasis throughout the project. Prioritize stakeholders by power, legitimacy, and urgency. Deliver a ranked register with owners and tailored engagement plans, and revisit ratings at milestones to reflect shifts in influence, interest, and time sensitivity. Stakeholder identification and prioritization matrix. Example. This table scores each stakeholder on power, interest, influence, impact, urgency, and legitimacy, then total the scores to rank priority. In this example, the Vice Chancellor, Deans, and Academic Registrar score highest and are tagged key, while lecturers are secondary and student support, and students are other. Treat these numbers as a starting hypothesis, not a verdict. Validate the scores through interviews, recent decisions, and observed behavior. Refresh the matrix at each milestone since roles, pressure, and timing shift. The value of this tool is action. Map scores to engagement. Key stakeholders get frequent briefings, early involvement in scope and risk decisions, and clear decision rights. Secondary groups receive regular consults, pilot invitations, and change previews. Other groups receive concise updates and feedback channels. Add what matters to each stakeholder, so messages land. Evidence for leaders, workload clarity for lecturers, service levels for students. Consider weights if your context demands it. For example, urgency or legitimacy may outrank raw power when compliance or public trust is at stake. Finally, keep the matrix in a shared repository and link it to the communication plan, risk register, and decision log, so priority translates into cadence, owners, and concrete next steps. This is only an example. Tailor scoring and categories to your project. In this slide, we can see a table with the success criteria for various stakeholders. This example shows that success looks different by role. Customers and customer management emphasize on time, On-budget delivery that meets requirements, builds partnership, and realizes profit or follow-on work. End users care about meeting requirements and quality, plus timely, usable outcomes. Project managers span nearly every criterion: time, cost, scope, quality, recognition, team sustainability, because they balance the whole system. Contractor management and subcontractors value profit, well-paid work, predictable schedules, and repeat business. Project team members prize quality, learning challenge, recognition, fair pay, and minimal overtime. How to use it. Treat the marks as a starting hypothesis, then validate with interviews. Translate each group's criteria into measurable targets and evidence: dates, budgets, defect thresholds, service levels. Map criteria to owners in your plan. Call out trade-offs explicitly and align incentives. For example, protect minimal overtime while holding quality and schedule. Reflect these priorities in communications, reviews, and acceptance testing. Keep this artifact in your repository and revisit at milestones, so shifting priorities remain visible and actionable. This is only an example. Tailor the criteria to your project. 6.1b. Results of Find and Analyze. Stakeholders. Systematic stakeholder discovery and analysis clarify direction and priorities, surface complex trade-offs and consequences, and accelerate essential decisions. Teams build a shared understanding of risk, align expectations with customers, and lead in an empowering way that invites ownership. Knowing who needs what and why enables responsible stewardship of time, budget, and attention, turning scattered interests into coherent plans and durable commitment. 6.1 billion top stakeholder considerations. Begin with a written communication plan that names audiences, messages, cadence, channels, and owners. Define scope precisely. What is in, what is out, assumptions, and change control. Identify threats and opportunities and plan responses. Set measurable quality standards and verification. When constraints collide, state the priority among cost, schedule, scope, and quality, and record decision rights. 6.1c. Document stakeholders. Create a stakeholder register, a single repository listing each stakeholder's name, role, contact, interest, influence, impact, expectations, risks, and engagement plan. Update at milestones. Use it to mobilize supporters by assigning actions and amplifying messages, and to anticipate and mitigate resistance by recording concerns, triggers, responses, owners, and timelines. Keep it accessible and version controlled. Project Stakeholder Register. Example. This table is a simple register that lists each stakeholder's interest in the project, their priority level, and the specific support or mitigation strategy you will use. It is only an example, but you can extrapolate the structure to any healthcare information technology project. Vice Chancellor, key: seeks visible service improvement and avoidance of government intervention. Strategy: consult on targets and use executive authority to unblock hard changes. Deans of faculty, key: want to protect faculty workflows and influence. Strategy: work through appointed representatives, surface barriers, and publicize early wins for faculties. Academic registrar, key: aims to raise course quality and strengthen the office's standing. Strategy: increase visibility, secure resources, and reinforce backing from senior leaders. Lecturers secondary: prefer clear heads-up on impacts, may resist negative changes. Strategy: recruit champions and run a careful communication and change support plan. Student support, other, needs time and training to roll out new services. Strategy: co-design training and online help. Students: Other. Expect real improvement and voice in design. Strategy. Create consultation forums and consistent updates. How to adapt for healthcare information technology. Map roles to your context. Chief Information Officer, clinical leaders, privacy and security officers, department managers, frontline clinicians, registration and billing teams, patient support, vendors, and community partners. For each, capture interest, priority, and a tailored strategy. For example, training, workflow pilots, downtime procedures, data quality checks, privacy controls. Keep the register live, assign owners, set review dates, and link it to your communication plan, risk log, and decision record, so priorities translate into concrete actions. Section 6.2 guides engagement. Define goals, map influences, and set cadence. 6.2a builds a stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. 6.2b turns insights into relationship plans, commitments, and feedback loops, sustaining alignment. Create a stakeholder engagement assessment matrix to define engagement across the life cycle and anchor the plan. Build relationships, especially during planning, using team building and influence to align stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, explanation, and healthcare adaptation. This example table shows for each stakeholder 4 things: their current engagement level, the level you need to achieve, the main barriers holding them back, and the specific strategy to move them forward. It is only an example. Its value is in the pattern. You diagnose where each party stands today, define a realistic target state, such as neutral, supportive, or leading. Name concrete obstacles like time pressure, power dynamics, skills gaps, or low perceived relevance, and then choose tailored actions that address those obstacles. To extrapolate this to healthcare management, swap in equivalent roles and contexts. Vice Chancellor becomes Health System Chief Executive or Hospital President. Deans of faculty become service line leaders or department chairs. Academic registrar maps to the Director of Health Information Management or Quality. Lecturers map to clinicians and other frontline staff, often with union considerations. Student support maps to patient access and care coordination. Students map to patients, families, and community members. Populate the same columns, current position and target position for each group. Barriers such as workload, coverage, regulatory audits, data privacy concerns, or change fatigue. Strategies such as deputy coverage to free leaders' time, what is in it for me, messaging for chairs, skills coaching, and mentorship for managers, early champions among clinicians, legal and human resources, review for union issues, redesign services, and clear health paths for patient access, and patient advisory councils for public voice. Assign an owner and a review date for each row. Keep the matrix live and link it to your communication plan and risk log so intent turns into action. 6.2b Relationship building with stakeholders. Create a stakeholder engagement plan as a focused part of the overall project management plan. It specifies how, when, and by whom each stakeholder will be engaged during planning and execution, grounded in their needs, wants, and impacts, so collaboration, decisions, risks, and benefits are managed transparently and effectively together. 6.2b Project relationship building activities. Build durable relationships by surfacing individual motives, inviting open communication, and co-creating agendas. Learn together through short debriefs, share and celebrate wins, and make the work enjoyable. Choose decision-making and problem-solving methods that fit the issue's urgency and stakes. Document agreements and sustain trust with consistent follow-through and visible support. What stakeholders value the most? Stakeholders prize an authentic invitation to engage early and throughout, prompt and thoughtful responsiveness, transparency about decisions, risks and trade-offs, and dependable follow-through. Most importantly, if you cannot clearly explain concrete benefits to every group affected, support will erode. Tailor benefits by audience, show evidence, and keep two-way feedback active. 6.3. Manage stakeholder engagement. Managing stakeholder engagement is the ongoing process of communicating and collaborating with stakeholders to meet the needs and reasonable desires, resolve issues quickly, and sustain active participation. Practically, share planning documents, hold informal check-ins, adhere to formal change control, surface assumptions, document and validate expectations for deliverables, record decisions, assign owners and dates, and close feedback loops before execution begins properly. Managing and monitoring stakeholder engagement. The graphic in this slide shows a continuous loop for keeping people aligned. Start by understanding stakeholder assumptions, needs, constraints, success signals. Clarify those assumptions so everyone shares the same meaning. Reconfirm expectations in measurable terms. Who decides? By when? How success is judged? Adjust strategies, scope, training, workflow, communication based on feedback. Achieve according to stakeholder assumptions. While you continuously monitor relationships, communication quality, and lessons learned to fit the next cycle. Healthcare management example. You are launching a new patient portal feature for lab results and secure messages. Understand assumptions. Patients expect fast access. Clinicians worry about message volume. Privacy officers need strict release rules. Clarify. Fast means within 24 hours. Abnormal results are held for clinician review. Messages are routed to a triage pool. Reconfirm. Obtain written acceptance from clinical leaders, patient advisory council, and compliance. Adjust strategies. Add message templates, after-hours coverage, patient education, and staff training. Achieve, go live, track turnaround time, message backlog, and satisfaction. Monitor weekly huddles and a simple dashboard. Capture lessons, for example, expand triage hours, and start the loop again. 6.4. Monitor stakeholder engagement. Continuously verify that stakeholder relationships are healthy and productive. Engage regularly, track sentiment, and respond quickly to shifts. Ensure project managers are clear on their roles, promptly alerted to changes, and invited to provide early, ongoing feedback. Use structured check-ins and dashboards to detect issues, adjust plans, and sustain alignment. 6.5. Plan communications management. Purposes of a project communication plan. So, the communications management plan is a living part of the project plan that captures stakeholder information needs and guides all messaging. It exists to set and manage expectations, ensure work is completed correctly, and document considerations such as audiences, channels, cadence, and owners in a communication matrix. It also supports knowledge management by preserving decisions, updates, and lessons for reuse. Project Communications Plan. Considerations. Design communications by linking purposes, structures, methods, and timing. Purposes, authorization, direction setting, information requests, status on schedule, cost, people, risk, issues, quality, and change control. Output approvals, escalation, lessons learned, structures, reuse existing organizational formats, adapt project templates, and create unique artifacts when needed. Methods, push, instant messages, email, voicemail, text. Pull, share repositories, intranet, blogs or bulletin boards. Interactive, telephone or teleconferences, wikis, video conferencing, groupware. Timing, align to life cycle, charter, plan, milestones, acceptance, close out. With routine cadence, daily for members, weekly for core team, monthly for sponsor, and ad hoc for others. Communications matrix. A communications matrix turns messaging into a deliberate plan. It names the source, who we learn from, and the content, what to gather or share, so information flows predictably instead of ad hoc. It also fixes audience, timing, and method. Who must know, when they need it, and through which channel. Finally, it assigns an owner responsible for updates and keeping the plan accurate. Project Communications Matrix. This matrix links each stakeholder to what the project shares, what it needs from them, the method, and the timing. Leaders receive strategy, budgets, and authorizations and provide regular updates. Others engage through newsletters, workshops, one-to-one conversations, electronic mail, and meetings. Methods are chosen by purpose and constraints. Shared information motivates and improves team performance. Sponsors use it to judge whether work will finish on time and within budget, while many stakeholders focus on details relevant to their own functions. In healthcare management, mirror this for hospital leaders, service line directors, information leaders, clinicians, patient access teams, and patients. Match needs to channels such as governance briefings, workshops, huddles, education sessions, electronic mail, and portals, and set cadence by group, daily, weekly, monthly, or as needed. In this slide, manage project knowledge refers to capturing what the team learns and reusing it to improve today's work and the organization's future capabilities. Practically, document decisions and lessons as they happen. Store them in a shared repository, curate templates and playbooks, run brief retrospectives, and fold insights into training and onboarding. Result: better decisions, faster delivery, enduring organizational memory. 6.6 Manage communications. 6.6 A. Determine project information needs. Communicate accurately by being factually true and framing messages so they are interpreted correctly. Communicate promptly by delivering information early enough to influence timely decisions. Communicate effectively when recipients act will open, understand, and act on it. In practice, define audience and decision deadlines. Tailor the level of detail, timestamp updates, pick the right channel, and confirm understanding, summaries, readbacks, quick checks, so information drives the intended action. 6.6b. Establish information retrieval and distribution system. Create a clear pipeline for collecting, storing, and sharing project information. Target only those who need it. Adopt new tools when they truly help. Keep proven methods when they work. Use a written communication plan and matrix to route messages. Continually ask who needs to know about what, when, and how. Maintain a single source of truth with access controls and version history. 6.6c. Project Meeting Management. Run meetings to move the project through its life cycle, never just to talk. Use them to establish plans, coordinate and execute activities, verify progress against schedule, cost, and quality, make decisions with name owners and due dates, formally accept deliverables against criteria, and close out by confirming completion, capturing lessons, and releasing resources. Always set an agenda, time box, record decisions, and track actions. 6.6c. Improving project meetings. Meetings are a process that can be studied and improved. Apply the Plan, Do, Check, Act PDCA cycle. Plan by preparing an agenda and desired decisions. Do by running the meeting and capturing minutes. Check by evaluating outcomes and participation. Act by completing between meeting tasks and refining formats. Repeating this loop builds habits, so any process practiced repeatedly will improve over time. Here's how the model Apply the Plan, Do, Check, Act works. At the center, the meeting cycle signals a repeating process. Around it, 4 stages run clockwise with curved arrows. Plan, prepare the agenda and decide decisions. Do, conduct the meeting and record minutes. Check, evaluate outcomes and participation. And Act, complete between meeting tasks and refine formats. The loop shows continuous improvement. Each pass updates agendas, templates, and roles so meetings steadily get better. Project Meeting Agenda. In this example, the agenda states purpose, location, and a time sequence of topics. It opens with a brief review, then covers schedules, logistics, funding approvals, and documentation. It concludes with a clear summary and a short evaluation to inform future meetings. In healthcare, for example, a similar pattern may be used for launching a patient portal. Review the agenda. The clinical leader outlines rollout dates. Operations covers staffing and training. Compliance confirms privacy rules and approvals. Finance verifies funding. And the project manager summarizes. End with a brief evaluation. In this slide, we can see a project meeting minutes template. During the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, the Do step means running the meeting and capturing minutes in real time. Rotate the note taker for fairness. This template records members present, decisions made, and issues log for resolved and new items. Clear action items with an owner and completion date, and a brief meeting evaluation, so agreements, responsibilities, and follow-ups are visible and auditable later. 6.6D Issues Management. An issue is a decision that cannot be made yet due to missing information or time. Manage issues with a living log capturing description, owner, due date, needed inputs, status, and next decision point. In every meeting, record 4 items: decisions made, new issues and resolved issues, agreed action items, a brief evaluation to improve the next meeting. The issues log. In this slide, we can see that an issues log serves as a living register for new and ongoing issues, with resolved items closed and archived. Record each issue's description, owner, due date, needed inputs, status, and next decision point. Document all decisions tied to issues. Not every problem is solved immediately. Add important ones to the log, review at each meeting, and track until resolution. This prevents forgetfulness, clarifies accountability, supports prioritization, and preserves a history of how problems were settled. Project Issues Log. This slide is a 2-part register. Open issues list items that still need a decision or fix, capturing the name, date open, originator, who raised it, potential impact on safety, cost, scope, schedule or compliance, and current progress. Closed issues preserves the history, how resolved and date closed for accountability, audit, and lessons learned. Project Meeting Plus Delta Evaluation Template. Use the Plus Delta template to close every meeting with a fast improvement loop. In the Plus column, capture what worked, practices to repeat. In the Delta column, note specific changes to try next time. Record action items for each agreed change, with a named owner and due date. Add any follow-ups from the Plus side, too. This brief evaluation becomes the final section of the minutes. Experienced teams can complete it in 1 to 2 minutes, yet the save time compounds across projects. The approach mirrors agile retrospectives. Practical. Keep the canvas visible so progress can be reviewed regularly at the start. Summary. Module 6 centers on purposeful, stakeholder, and communication management. You'll identify, analyze, and document people affected by the project, then plan tailored engagement using assessment matrices and relationship building activities. Manage engagement continuously. Surface assumptions, reconfirm expectations, and adjust strategies. Build a living communications plan with a matrix defining audiences, content, cadence, channels, and owners. Run efficient meetings using the plan, do, check, act cycle, capture decisions and action items, and evaluate with plus delta. Track decisions, issues, and risks in visible logs. Establish information needs, retrieval, and distribution systems. Capture knowledge as you go, minutes, lessons, templates, to strengthen today's delivery and the organization's future capability. After charter approval, identify, prioritize, and document stakeholders. Plan, manage, and monitor engagement across the entire life cycle. Plan and manage communications with a written plan. A communications matrix, disciplined meeting practices, clear paths to manage and escalate issues, and routines for capturing and reusing lessons learned across teams daily. Thanks all. If you have any questions, please contact me anytime. I'm happy to help.